Now, you have a friend. His name is Barack Hussein Obama. You know him?
I do know him. I do.
He recently, in Pittsburgh.
President.
President, let's get it right.
Yes.
Yeah,
Obama.
President. President Barack Obama. He was campaigning for you in Pittsburgh before some students at the University of Pittsburgh, which is my alma mater. And he said some things that really ruffled some feathers in the news. He said, "It makes me think you aren't just feeling the idea of having a woman as a president. You're coming up with other alternatives and other reasons for that. We have not seen the same kind of energy and turnout in all corners of our neighborhoods and community as we saw when I was running." So when you hear those words, I'm sure you were briefed on the situation. A former Ohio State Senator, Nina Turner, she came out on CNN and said, "Why are you, putting black men up against the wall and pressuring them into something that possibly, they don't want to do if they want to vote for you or not?" So my question to you is, do you think that what President Obama said was the right thing to say?
Let me tell you, I am very proud to have the support of President Obama, and that he is out traveling to talk with voters about what is at stake in this election. I'm very proud to have his support. What is also important is, one, to understand, like as I said, I intend to earn the vote of everyone, including black men. Two, pay attention to everything that President Obama talked about, because he also talked about, at length, the danger of Donald Trump.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. We got to talk about the desperation of the Kamala Harris campaign, okay? Because she's gotten so desperate, especially when it comes to black voters, that she has tapped into probably the most effective way to get black people to vote for you, which is the promise to give them some money, right? Because a lot of these people, right, they got their hand out saying, well, what you gonna give me, right? What's the black agenda, okay? Now, I made this argument that people have to get out of this racialized mindset, thinking that the federal government is going to do special things for you based off race. It is highly likely that whatever the promises that these people are making is probably going to be unconstitutional, okay? It's probably not something that's going to hold up in court. But that doesn't stop the Democrats from coming out here and introducing their new vote buying scheme, which is to give black entrepreneurs $20,000 to start small businesses, websites, which is what Kamala Harris has now rolled out in this 9-page plan, okay, for black men, okay, because she's struggling with black men, in which she boo-hoo-whines and cries racism against Trump and says, hey, well, I'm going to give you some money, right? I'm going to give you $20K to start a website. Now, here's the hilarious part about this, okay? I'm sorry for laughing so much. I can't help but laugh because these people are so hilarious, right? The Democrats are so funny. You can't help but laugh at the foolishness, right? I can't control myself. But anyways, she pitched this proposal on the Shade Room, which is a part of her latest round of interviews with black media to appeal to black people. And the interviewer, who clearly is a Kamala supporter for obvious reasons, I think he accidentally poked a giant hole in Kamala Harris's plan, basically exposing why this is a really, really, really bad idea. Take a look.
A $20,000 forgivable loan for them to be able, for example, to pay to set up a really good website so that their business could then thrive. Do you fear that it might intersect with
PPP loans and how, a mess some people were involved with that, the PPP loans and fraud and all of that?
Fraud, listen, I spent a career prosecuting people for fraud. So we will take care of the abuses, but that's not a reason to not give people an opportunity to thrive. I think there is a real misconception that people just, and only their highest aspiration is to have a job. That's not where I come from in terms of how I think of it. The baseline should be everybody has a job. What we should be doing is creating incentives for people to be able to build wealth and build intergenerational wealth. But again, knowing that not everybody starts out on the same base, but when you give them a little bit to just compete, they will work around the clock, good ideas, innovative ideas, and when they have just that little bit extra, it gives them what they need to actually get in there, compete, and thrive. That's the $20,000. That's the theory behind the $20,000 forgivable loan for people at a certain threshold, to just give them the resources, like I said, to start up a website, to buy the equipment they need depending on the kind of business that they're creating, so that that's not the barrier to what otherwise is going to be their incredible work ethic and hustle to actually make a success out of their smart idea that actually has relevance to the community.
Wow. I found that segment to be so hilarious for multiple reasons. Okay, the main reason being that guy pointed out the obvious hole, the obvious flaw in her proposal, which is that a program like that, again, first and foremost, is unconstitutional. I just want you guys to understand that will get shot down in court, right? If she implements that program as written in her proposal, the plan I just showed you guys, it will get shot down. It is blatantly unconstitutional. She cannot do that, right? I'm telling you right now, she's not doing that, okay? So don't fall for the okie doke, right? But even if she did it, it sounds to me like she's setting up a lot of you Negroes to go to jail, because that's exactly what happened with the PPP loans when you had all these people borrow money from the government in ways that were fraudulent, okay? And you would be a damn fool to believe that this program that Kamala Harris is setting up isn't going to be subject to the same waste, fraud, and abuse that the PPP program was subject to. I mean, can you imagine what some of these people will spend $20,000 on? Well, you don't have to, because we have examples of exactly what they will spend the money on. And it's kind of messed up what some of these people did with the government money that they got during the pandemic. Take a look.
Did you believe you were receiving these loans legitimately?
17 members of the Broward Sheriff's Office, which include both BSO deputies and detention deputies, released from the federal courthouse in Fort Lauderdale after being indicted on charges that include wire fraud after federal investigators said they fraudulently applied for and received funds from the Paycheck Protection Program, or PPP loans.
Called a multi-million-dollar scheme to defraud the feds. A man accused of using money meant for small businesses to buy this mansion in Central Florida, along with other luxury items. He got away with it for a while, but now he's been indicted.
The scheme helped him land millions from the PPP program, and Calvin's in the newsroom with the details.
Well, we've heard the story before. The man is accused of lying about his business, saying it had hundreds of employees with an average monthly payroll of nearly $3 million, but federal investigators say none of that was true.
A federal grand jury has returned this indictment charging Don Cisternino of defrauding the federal government out of $7.2 million in COVID-19 relief funds. According to allegations in the indictment, Cisternino is accused of lying about his New York-based consulting company to get millions of dollars in payroll protection plan funds.
Busted in a payment protection plan con. An OC man is accused of taking millions of dollars from the government and spending it on exotic race cars. Investigators say he went to great lengths to cash in on the business program.
KCAL 9 Orange County reporter Stacey Butler with how they say he pulled off the scheme.
A Ferrari, a Bentley, a Lamborghini, millions of dollars worth of sports cars purchased with your tax dollars, the feds say, by a scam artist who defrauded a pandemic relief fund.
Instead of using the money like a legitimate business to, help the business stay afloat, instead what's alleged is that he used the money for his own personal expenses, to take lavish vacations.
Again tonight with startling new details in the murder of a TSA agent. Good evening, I'm Juwan Strader.
And I'm Jackie Nesbrough. Police say a woman paid a hitman in PPP loan money, and that's just one of the outrageous allegations.
NBC6 reporter Ryan Nelson is in Northwest Miami-Dade with the details tonight.
The warrants revealed a tangled web of allegations, including murder for hire, fraud, and witness tampering. Police say 33-year-old Jasmine Martinez masterminded the murder for hire plot bankrolled by PPP loans that left 24-year-old LaShante Jones dead in May. Just over a year later, the warrants say Jones was robbed at gunpoint in the courthouse parking lot by two men, including Martinez's ex-boyfriend Kelly Nelson, after testifying against Martinez. About a year later, the warrant says Nelson called Martinez from jail, the warrant quoting Martinez in that conversation as saying that she is ready to go kill this hoe.
Yeah, so what did these Negroes do with the government money when they was handing it out during the pandemic? What did they do, right? That was supposed to be used for business, right? What did they do? What did they do? These people was out here buying mansions, luxury cars, vacations, putting hits out on the ops, right? They were doing all types of stuff with the money except start a business. Now, I'm not saying that everybody's going to do that, right? Everybody that receives this loan, okay? But I'm just saying there's no reason to believe that the government can prevent this type of fraudulent activity from happening in the first place, because here's the problem. It doesn't matter if they get the fraudsters on the back end. The fact they received the money in the first place means that other people are not going to get access to the money. So if you're giving out 1 million loans at $20,000 each, if you got, 20% of those people, fraudsters, that don't actually plan on using the money to start a business, which again, I have my doubts that a Kamala Harris administration would be able to thoroughly vet these people, okay? If that is the case, well, you're taking away money from people who legitimately want to start a business. And this is why the government should not be in the business of handing out venture capital, right? This is why you have private entities, nonprofit entities that actually have a legitimate stake in a business's success. The government doesn't have a stake in a business's success, at least not the same way that a private entity would, right? Because, hey, if the government lose the money, they just say, well, screw it. We just racked up more debt, right? And you know what the government does when we rack up more debt. We just take out more debt, right? So they don't care. The government doesn't give a damn, okay? But a private business, a venture capital fund, a nonprofit, they actually do care, because they know if the funds are used for fraud, then they can't get the money back. So they're going to thoroughly vet the individuals. You're not going to get that with the Kamala Harris administration. She's going to give out all this money, and the vast majority of it will be used for waste, fraud, and abuse, okay? Now, here's the thing. Kamala Harris claims that she wants to help out hard workers, okay, people who want to start businesses and things like that. But you got to understand, we don't live in fairy tale world, okay? Entrepreneurship is hard. There's a reason why business owners get paid more. There's a reason why they benefit more from taking the risk of starting a business. There's a reason why everybody can't do it. There's a reason why there are employees and there are owners. Everybody is not meant to be a business owner. The people who are meant to be entrepreneurs, who are meant to be business owners, typically find a way to do so without government handouts, right? For example, if you want to start a business, if you really want to do it, then you should be saving your own money to do it. Because the amount of work that it's going to take to save $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 is the same amount of work that it would take to run a successful business. And if you save $20,000 to $30,000 to $40,000 of your own money using your own hard work, blood, sweat, and tears, then most likely you're only going to use that money to start a business that you have confidence will be successful, right? Doesn't mean it will be successful, but you're going to be a lot more careful with the money in regards to the business that you're going to start. If the government just gives you money and say, oh, well, take this forgivable loan, which is just free money, you're less likely to be as careful with the money. You're more likely to waste the money on an idea that's probably not a good idea, something that you're probably not going to be successful at. That's what you got to understand. The people who want to be entrepreneurs and small business owners will find ways to do so. If you can't save $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 to start your own business, if that's what it takes, then you probably shouldn't be a business owner. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with being an employee. Some people are just better off being employees. Nothing wrong with that. Absolutely nothing wrong with it. Everybody doesn't want to take the risk and want to put in the work that it takes to be a successful entrepreneur. Nothing wrong with that whatsoever. But this idea that everybody can be a business owner and that the government just needs to give them a lump sum of money for them to do it is nonsense. And Kamala Harris doesn't understand it because she's not a business owner. She's not an entrepreneur. Any entrepreneur can instantly recognize this is a terrible idea. But she's doing this because she knows that a lot of these black people, what they're actually looking for is for her as a so-called black woman to say, hey, well, I'm just going to give money to black people only, right? I'm going to give you this handout, right? That is what she knows black people are looking for. This is why she's proposing this. She knows she's not going to be able to do it. But let me tell you something that can be done that will help out people, black, white, Latino, Asian, whoever, who want to be entrepreneurs. Trump's policies of no tax on tips and no tax on overtime, especially no tax on overtime, right? Because if you really want to be an entrepreneur, you really want to start a small business, you want that $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 in capital, then what better way to help you get that money than to pay less taxes? You get to keep more of the money that you make. You can save that money. And then once you saved enough, you can start your own business. That's really what will help people out, right? That's really what people who are looking to be entrepreneurs will benefit from. And I guarantee you, the people that save that money are going to be a lot more careful with their money because they work hard to get that money. So if you want to know real policy that's going to help out people that want to start businesses, that want to be entrepreneurs, that want to build wealth, no tax on overtime, keeping more of your own money, giving less money to the government. That's how you build wealth, making smart decisions with that money that you keep. That's how you do it. But this is not it. Handing people money to start a business, to build a website, that's not it. That's not going to cut it. That's not how entrepreneurship works. That's not how capitalism works. If you want to use somebody else's money, there are ways to do that, right? You can go to pitch competitions, okay? Angel investors, seed investors is out there. You got to network. You got to meet people with capital. But again, those people have a different incentive than the government. They know that, okay, well, if I give my money to the wrong person, then I'm going to lose my money. And I'm not going to be able to get it back. So they're going to be a lot more careful. They're going to vet the idea to make sure that you actually have an idea that is somewhat likely to be successful, right? That way you have less waste, fraud, and abuse. And even then, there's a high rate of failure. So what makes you think that the government is going to do a better job than the system that we already have in place for people who don't want to spend their own money to start a business? So you have to be out of your mind to think this is a good idea. A lot of these individuals, they're going to end up going to jail because I guarantee you a significant amount of people that apply for these forgivable loans, they're not going to use the money to start a business, okay? They're going to use the money to buy some rims, some chains, some jewelry, right? Clothes, women, all types of depreciating assets, okay? They're not going to be using the money for what it's supposed to be used for. Everybody's not meant to be a business owner, and that's okay, right? If you really want to be a business owner, then you should save your own money and start your own business. Or if you don't want to use your own money, then come up with a great business plan that somebody's willing to invest in, and you can use their money. It just shouldn't be the government's money. And that's the point. But again, the easiest way for you to save your own money, what's going to help you out the most, is to give less of your money to the government, which is the policies that Trump is proposing. And then at that point, you can start your own business and you can more easily build wealth. You can buy your own house. You can do all of these things that Kamala Harris is promising that the government is going to hand out money for. You can do that yourself by keeping more of your own money, okay? And you'll have a lot less waste, fraud, and abuse as a result. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.